I think everything is up and running. So when you start dropping in, just drop into chat for me. Hope everybody is doing well today. Let's see. This is Sunday for me, Sunday morning, and just getting started. Had a lot of time yesterday to review some things. So there was one solution that came out of yesterday's live stream. So, all right. Like I said, we'll wait for some people to drop in. Is the audio loud enough? Because I feel like it's not, but the snowball is set on 100. My mic is set on 150%. Yeah. Okay. Monitor off. Oh, that's the feedback. I don't know much about audio, but all right, let's see. I think we had some people dropping in. All right. So one of the interesting things that came out of yesterday was somebody gave me a solution, and I thought it was very, very interesting. So when you drop in today, go ahead and just say hey, and very curious, drop in the time where it is where you are now, so I can kind of get an idea of if I need to be doing this later or earlier. But all right, we need to talk about slicing for a minute, because this is what I like about, this is probably my favoriteest thing about programming is I'm sure you've heard the saying, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Well, in my opinion, in programming, there's 10,000 ways to skin a cat. I think I gave an exercise one time, how to output 3 without actually typing 3. And there were some really cool solutions that came out. Let's see. Is OBS working well? All right. I had to restart my computer. My Steam. My son's been helping me. Well, by helping me, he's been setting up everything. We bought a new hard drive. We bought a new processor. Whole bunch of RAM. I think I'm up to, I can't remember, 32 gigs or 30, or it was an odd even number. Let me say that. It was an unnormal even number. So, all right. But the solutions that people come up with, that's one thing that you've got to get comfortable with, is that just get it to work. And that's probably what was drawn to me about the Python language, was that it is not a snobby language. It is, hey, here, try this, get this to work. I remember when I was learning and I was going onto message boards, and you'd ask a question and you'd be berated or made fun of or humiliated. God, did you even try to search for this? But all right, we got a couple people dropping in. So let me show you a solution that was shared with me yesterday for our number triangle, and I absolutely loved it. And we need to look at something. Actually, we're gonna kind of use the way that they did it, but all right. So let's bring this into memory. Oops, I guess I have stuff running in the background. Let's look at what A is. So one of the solutions was, and we can optimize it. Well, not optimize it, but just clean it up a little bit to be more efficient. So there was a reassignment of, I believe it was this. So every time we were looping through, we were doing we were doing something. So let's look and see what this is actually doing here. Oh, wait a second. And then how does Python start? It starts with a, okay, so we've had a few more people drop in. If you want to say hey, and and you don't have to say where you're from, but I'm curious of the time of where you are right now. All right. So the challenge was to build this padding right here to get our number triangle to come and start over here. All right. So the solution that they came up with was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then they, as they iterated through, they reassigned. And this is one of the things that I absolutely love about Python, is that this is a completely legal statement. The way that I like to teach this is the order, because Python is as you're writing a program here, Python is nothing more than a program. I believe it is written in C++, maybe C++, or maybe just C. I can't remember. It's been a while. But it's a C or a variation of C. So it has rules, and it has to abide by those rules because it's a programming language as well. It's a program that is a programming language. There we go. So it has rules that it has to abide by. So everything happens over on the right side first. Then it is linked. Think about that. Linked to whatever variable is on the left, creating this as an object. That's what you need to think about, because if we just output this is just output. Nothing's been created. But once you assign this, it's created an object of this information. All right, boom. So there we are. So every time we were iterating through, we were removing the 0 index. So the first time through, it was all of these spaces. The next time through, it was 1 over. The next time through, it was 1 over, removing. Let's do this. For I in, comment out that, move this, in range, let's see if I'm counting right, paste, print A. F9. There we go. And here's a perfect example of order of operations. So here we go. So first time through, it is all right here. Next time through, we're removing the 0 index. The next time through, we are removing the previous 0 index. The next time through, previous 0 index, and so on. So this is a perfect way of looking at slicing. Now, here's one interesting thing that to think about, and it's not anything dire, but this will work if you just drop this 5, because if we look at what A is, let's just run this. So A, here we go. A1 to 9. This is completely, I mean, it's legal, it's okay, it won't break, because there is no 9th index, but it's where to stop. So we could technically just drop this because it doesn't matter what the end result is. So this is one of the fundamentals of Python that I think is extremely important about learning how slicing works, because you can utilize this extremely well. if there is a way to do that in VB.net, I have not found a way, because it would have been a lot easier with some of the issues that I was trying to solve a couple weeks ago when I was finishing up. Because VB.net has some arrays, but there was a lot of things that I got spoiled with Python that I was not able to do or I couldn't find a way to do it in VB.net. I did like their, I think the increment and decrement, I think it was the exact same way as Python. Their string formatting, its string formatting is similar. I think it's a $sign in front of a string, but it has the ampersand, and yeah, it's just weird. All right, so did I move this over here? I did. So let me show you what somebody sent. Yeah. Hope the coloring is okay today. I haven't looked at it recently. I'm pale. I don't tan very well. All right. And I've been trying to get OBS. If anybody has a good tutorial to watch for OBS of how to change the settings and have the resolution, because I keep going back and forth between two of my scenes, and it's messing up everything with my resolution. I don't know, scaling, resolution, I don't know if they're the same or just similar. All right, so let's see. Here we go. I think this is it. Copy, paste. Yeah, I think this was their solution. F9. There we go. This was unfinished portrait solution, and I thought it was very, very elegant and very interesting. So I did unfinished had a 5 here. We were talking about that earlier for slicing, and it would work because we're really just making a copy. So let's go through this. So A right now, oh, we've decremented it down, and F9. So A, let's look at what A does. So when we slice off and we index, we drop index 0. If you don't know what indexing and index 0 and starting at index 0 is not, drop that in chat for me so we can do a deep dive onto that, because it's pretty vital to really understand, and it's a extremely useful concept, and you can use it pretty much everywhere. So all right, let's see. So every time through, so the first time through A, and they had it as the 5 blank spaces, but I'm using these as numbers so you don't have to so you can visualize and you don't have to sit here and go, how many blank spaces is that? So all right, so the first time through, we index off, we slice out, we slice this. So index 0, index 1. I used to have a graphic of a loaf of bread. I need to find that for maybe the stream tomorrow. And I had I think it was my oldest. I had my son make some graphics for, I think, one of the courses. I can't remember. I think it was Code Dam's course. I think, yeah, it was Code Dam's course. Oh my goodness! And I completely forgot that I was finishing up my resume last night, and I have a former teammate who was helping me, and I was talking about the online platforms that I've created courses for, and they were like, put their names down. So I completely forgot that I also have stuff on Free Code Camp too. I think some of you have found me from Free Code Camp. So that was awesome. All right. So back to this slicing. So let's visualize this. Actually, I want to see if I can find those. That's that slice of bread. Let me just bear with me right now. Let's see. What'd I name it? Oh, cool. Here it is. Yeah. I'm doing well. How are you? All right. So let's just kind of look at this for a minute. There's forward indexing. Is that February? Awesome. Glad to have you here. All right. So right now we're focusing on, so if you're just dropping in, we're looking at slicing. So we had a solution that was presented yesterday for our reverse triangle, which I love this solution, or I love this problem because I really truly think it solves so many different things. And like right here, order of operations of, okay, wait a minute, I need the full list to come out, then I need to edit it. Like that simple and subtlety is so important. There's an example when I was a kid, long time ago, and it's not really utilized anymore. But what it was is writing the instructions for making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And there's a lot of assumptions that are made because you can't assume that anybody knows what you mean by put on open bread, get bread. It's grab the loaf of bread, remove the twist tie, open the end of the bread, remove 2 slices of bread, place down on plate, then put peanut butter on. I remember I wrote some instructions during a training course that I was taking, and I said put peanut butter on bread, and it was a maintenance manager, and so what they did is they took the container of peanut butter and they placed it and smashed it down on the entire loaf of bread. And subtlety, we began to learn subtlety very, very quickly. All right. Oh, that is absolutely awesome. So you found me on Free Code Camp and you have a data engineering job? That is so cool. That is so very cool. All right. So, well, if they're looking for someone else, please let me know, because as of, I don't know if you know right now, I am currently looking for a new role and do not have a job. Friday was my last day with Walmart as a data engineer, or as a data analyst. I would actually think I'd really like being a data engineer, creating the pipelines of all of that, unpacking the streaming objects, because that was actually one of the things that we had to fix, partnered with engineering team, and the flow of the data, scanned data and the JSON objects. It was very awesome to set up the protocols to do that. All right, so I digress. All right. Oh, thank you guys for dropping in. I'm extremely interested. If you can drop into chat and just say hey and let me know what time it is where you are. I'm extremely interested to see where we are around the globe. But all right, back to slicing. So I went and found the image. So if you are absolutely new to Python, this is an extremely important concept. So this is like our numbers right here, 1, 2, 3. So we could actually let's go ahead and change this. A, B, C, D, E, F. We'll just do A, B, C, D, E. Was it through E? Is that what it was? And yeah, but that's 5. Okay, so we'll leave these. Comment this out and F9. As we can see here, full length right here. Then we are slicing out the A. And it helps if you take your caps lock off. I've heard in newer versions of Python it'll actually make a suggestion of what you might be looking for. I have not updated my spider. I think this is 3.8, but I think it's like 3.10, 3.12, one of those that starts making suggestions of the variable you might be looking for. I wish I would have had that when I was learning on my beginning journey. But all right, here's a perfect example. So 0 indexing. Is that centered? How? Haven't checked this. Didn't want to move that. There we go. This. Okay, that is pretty centered. Sorry, the stream image is so small in the top corner, so I have a hard time seeing this. So all right. Okay, I just experimented something. Have you guys seen any ads? It's saying that they're popping up, and I don't really have control over that, so I apologize if you guys are seeing ads, and I don't know if then that buffers me or not. But all right, let's talk about, does everybody understand what slicing is? All right, so let's go over this. There's forward slicing, forward indexing, and positive indexing and negative indexing. That's the proper way to do this. I haven't talked about slicing in a while. So, all right, Python is a 0 index language. So you might go, what in the world does that mean? Well, think about a number line. 0 has a place on that number line, correct? So the way that it was decided was Python was going to utilize the number line. So if you look right here, we don't have any gaps, and we also don't have any overlay. So we have -6 through 5. So we couldn't use 0 back here. So -1 is a way to look at it. You might go, well, why doesn't it start at 0 and go negative? Well, again, 0 already has a place. 0 is the first occurrence of an index in an iterable object. All right. Does anybody need me to say that again? 0 is the first iteration of an object inside an iterable. All right. You iterate through an iterable. That took me so long to wrap my head around. All right. So first is 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if you're going to go in reverse, the last one is first, and it's -1. So start, stop, step. If you ever forget how the indexing works, it is the exact same rules as range. So start, stop, step. So when you pass in one object, let's see, it defaults to the stop. So the start will instinctively be index 0, and then the step, if it's omitted, it will also default. Does it have the defaults here? I can't remember. Defaults to 0, stop is omitted. There we go. And then it defaults to 1. So if we were going to utilize this, here's a perfect one. For I in range 20. Don't know why 20 didn't come out. So we're going to start at 2, go to 20. So we need to go past it, and we're going to go by 2. So, all right, print I. F9, 2, 4, 6, 8, blah, 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 all the way to 20. So let's unpack this for a second. So same rules as range as for slicing. So my start point, I'm starting at index 2, 0, 1, 2, and I'm stopping at 21, so it's inclusive. There's inclusive and exclusive. We haven't. I don't know. Does anybody not know what those words are? Inclusive and exclusive, included and excluded. The way that I tried to remember these, so I remembered exoskeleton from school, outside, or inclusive, included. So 2 is included, 21 is excluded. So it goes right up in 2, but excludes our stop point. And then I'm going by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8, so on through 20. So, all right. Any questions about that right now? All right. So this is the stuff that I love about teaching Python, because it is so vital. Because you can do so much. So I go back and I'm becoming obsessed with this explanation that, you ever seen like a carpenter and they just have like a hammer and a saw and a really good tape measure and an edge or the T to get it to be square, and they can do all the angles. And then you have the younger guys that show up and they have all these fancy tools and everything, and it just doesn't look the same. It's how you use them. That's what I guess I'm obsessed with. You can know everything about everything, but if you're not elegant with the basic tools, doesn't matter how fancy you are and how complex, but if you're not elegant with I wish I should have known that. Like think about a compass and a protractor. And if you're really good at visualization and you can see angles and you can just see all these things, you can draw these beautiful arcs and just with precision. And that's what I guess I'm trying to articulate is precision. Being able to cut straight, being able to have things in the right order, just the detail of things like this. It's just so nice and elegant. All right, is there anything anybody wants to go over while we're here? We're having a few people drop in and out, which is very cool. But if you just want to say hey and let me know the time zone you're in, just so I can kind of get an idea of if this is a good time or a bad time. I know yesterday we ended up having quite a few people come in and out over the course of the hour. I'm going to try to be on here for 2 hours. We'll see how it is. Didn't really have a plan UTC +7. So, all right. Oh, very cool. Indonesia. That is absolutely awesome. As I was trying to think +7 and think globally about where that would be. So let me come up. +7. My goodness. All right. So London, UTC. So that's 6 hours ahead of me. Very, very cool. All right. Yeah, that's why I love YouTube and the internet, is that's just that's just so awesome that you're on the other side of the planet. And because, yeah, that's like 13. The time change is throwing me off because I'm in U.S. Central time zone. All right. So let's see. Okay. Let's see. Fun fact, I'm finishing the boot camp from Data Talks Club about data engineering. Okay. And then I'm learning your course from Free Code Camp. Did I make any courses on Free Code Camp, or did I just do videos? I can't quite remember. If you can help me remember that, that would be very cool, because I can put that on my resume. Hang on one second. Sorry, there's some activity in my household this morning. There's a lot of people running around here today. But all right. I know I made a bunch of live streams, I think. Is video... No worries. No, I'm the one that should remember what I have on Free Code Camp, but I just I don't, because that's probably been 5 years ago that I've made that, maybe 6, because I remember they reached out to me, and we were on vacation, and then they told me who else they had worked with. And I reached out to them, and they said it was a great opportunity for them. But there just seemed to be some sort of disconnect. I didn't get the same traction as everybody else did. I don't like the long formats. Like these, my live streams are the longest of any videos that I do. Let's see, but I recommended your videos if people... Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Yeah, one of my sons came home yesterday, came by and told me that they had a friend in school who had been using, and said that they were learning Python. And my son made them aware of my YouTube channel, and they've been frequenting it to get answers for things. To get help, and then they have passed it on to other classmates. So I thought that was extremely interesting. But all right, so all right, we're at about 34 minutes. Got a couple people coming and going. Very cool. All right, but don't be. I can't say enough. Don't be hesitant to perfect and become very elegant with the basics, because it's vital. Because you can, I think I made a video that just because you know how to use a hammer doesn't mean you know how to build a house, and I stand by that. Because attention to detail, planning, laying out what you're going to need, what the problem is. Oh my God, what the problem is. So that is I still was bewildered. And I know everybody was stressed out last week and the week before that everyone was leaving. A few of the people on the calls, on the team's calls, were leaving as well, and it was stressful. And actually found out Friday that one of my teammates was terminated. So technically, I still had a job, and at 3 o'clock my time, and technically they had been fired. So that was really weird. So all those stressful things. But all right, I digress. But what I was bewildered by and absolutely blown away by is we just kept saying there was a problem instead of articulating what the problem was. We didn't lay it out. And I mean, and in the end, the calculations I had was wrong. And that's fine, but it took us, instead of just saying, here's the equation, here's the formula that needs to be used, is this what you're doing? And I'd be like, okay, cool, let's dig into the code, and let's go into the SQL query where it's being handled, and let's look at it. And none of that happened. It was just, well, this isn't wrong, or this is wrong. So we were taking that team's numbers, comparing it to ours, and it was just so unorganized. So I just can't articulate that enough to make sure that what you're fixing needs to be fixed. And if you're like me, having multiple exports of anything that you're trying to test, you're begging for a problem. So I was going back and forth on the two flows that I was trying to fix. And instead of being hyper-focused on one of them and fixing it all the way, I just kept going, well, why isn't this way? And I was just chasing my tail. And I just took a deep breath. And I was like, all right, let's get one of these working. So I actually I closed the tabs. I removed any opportunity for me to become more confused than I already was and anxious. So I was, at the end of the day, I had 2 hours left technically before. I didn't know if my computer was going to have access all the way up until 5 o'clock. So I was absolutely freaking out. So, and I knew what it was going to be. I already knew what the problems were that was going to happen. It was either I was going to have some copying issues, so I was going to be missing parentheses, missing commas, or when I was going to be writing on the export from the PostScript, writing it to our permanent tables. Because what I did is I created these flows. We made some we had an Azure database that was kind of, we called it our QA tables. So that's how we kind of got around the security issues. So we controlled them. No one else had access in the company. So we wrote to these tables in Azure. Then because we couldn't find a solution to Dataiku was constantly rewriting the schema. Now, other teammates had written some things where if you wrote from Dataiku to BigQuery didn't allow it to be rewritten. But we didn't want it in BigQuery. We wanted it in our controlled Azure tables. So that's the discussion about design and architecture. You just have to make those decisions and stick with it. But all right. So we would write to these temporary tables and then read from the temporary table and write to the permanent table. So there's a lot of reading and writing that was going on. So it was more than likely parentheses, commas, or something where I was writing. Oh, and also we were changing the shape and design of the tables because we were expanding for more data. So that was, of course, I wasn't the owner of the database, so I couldn't edit the tables that I didn't create. So if I created the table, I could edit it. But if I didn't create the table, I couldn't edit it. So my teammate, the project manager that I started with, there were so many of the tables that he had created for me already to get ahead of this whole process. So I had to learn how to delete, drop, and then recreate instances of new tables. So I learned a great deal in the last few months of my time with Walmart. So all right. But yeah, making sure you're understanding what the problem you're trying to fix is. That is extremely vital. Let's see. What else? Are there any questions you guys have? Because I know I wanted to go over slicing today, and because this solution is very cool. I would have never thought about it. Very elegant, and you're not even I don't know. There's just something about it. I absolutely love it. I guess we can go here in F9. Yeah, this is just so cool. Let's drop one of them. Oops. There we go. F9. Is that right? F9. There we are. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, because one. Can we go over here? What is it? One. Nope, we can't move through there. All right. So we have some people coming in now, though. So very cool. I may need to get up and go grab a new beverage. I'm trying to do better. So I'm gonna go get some almost juice. I finished my other less juice drink, but all right, if you are just dropping in now, please, if you have any questions or if you've not jumped over to the Discord server, please make sure, sorry, I don't know if I'm off mic, but if you're just now joining us and where Discord go? There it is. Okay. All right. So if you are new, I think we have more than the most that I've had yet. All right, almost 300 people. Yeah, I was actually shocked. My younger son, he was shocked by how many people I have on my Discord server. He's like, wait a minute, what? So yeah, I think it's 280 as of the last member, 289. I can look and see if I can navigate this pretty quickly. Profile. Where is it? Settings, events. I know it's in here. Appearance. No, it's not appearances. Profile. Server profile. No, I'll have to look later. I know I found it before. I'm not that super savvy with Discord, because if you guys haven't remembered, I had one of our very nice members of our community was willing to help set up and did everything on the Discord server. So all right, let me go grab my my juice adjacent, and I'll be right back. All right. See if I can get the coloring back right. Let's see. Go back to OBS, because I think this is it's not great, not bad. I think this time of day it makes my teeth really gray. All right. I don't know how long. I got some speckles over here that are gonna show up. So we'll see how long that lasts. But all right, we still got some folks hanging around. So all right, I need my somewhat juice, somewhat energy drink. It's one of those V8 energies, the black cherry. All right, so let's see. Have any of you seen the one video? And I think somebody asked me. It was either a problem they had, or I saw it on one of the coding challenges. But it was an array, and it was a nested list of lists. Let's see if I can recreate it. So it was for I in, let's see, multi-dimension array. All right. That's actually what I was thinking about. So what it was is it was a representation of how did I make it? Did I just make it? Maybe I did. So seats, and it was 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, and then 1, 0, 0. I'll have to go back and find this. So basically it was an arrangement of Phoebe, are you on the Discord server? Have you joined that? Let's change that one, and let's do this right here. Might be easier. God, the air is freezing today. All right, so seats. So for in seats, print I. Oh, helps if. That's why I have to say things out loud to make sure I actually type them. All right, yeah, no. All right. Don't know why I did it over there. For I in seats, print I. Let's grab it. Knew I should have eaten before I started the live stream. I'm very hungry. All right, so let's see. All right, so here we are. So what this was is a very interesting concept, and it took me a minute to figure it out. But that's what I can't. Oh, cool. All right. Send me a. Either you can. Have you sent me any? So you're already on. So you can put it in the general chat or DM me. So to make sure I understand when you're talking about a multi-dimensional array. I think I want to change that. How bad do I look right now? Okay, that's not horrible, but my teeth are bad, I think. Don't look at my teeth. I gotta get the lighting right, or I gotta start earlier. You just sent me something. F dot dot dot. Cool. All right. Awesome. Let's see. My kids would be very proud of me for going back and forth between the live stream and my Discord. Because actually one of the things that I'm going to try to do, because these are the longest videos that I've done of these streams, and it didn't dawn on me because they've been wanting me to make shorts for my YouTube channel. So I finally downloaded, and it took forever for the live stream yesterday to, because it's about 3 hours for all the data, and that's normal. But a live stream, for it to, I don't know what process that it had to be processed to do. I don't know if it was checking for everything, but I mean, it just doesn't take that long. Well, I guess it's an hour and 8 minutes. Most of my videos probably average 5 minutes, maybe. It's not rendering, so I mean, I don't know what it could be doing, but it took almost 12 hours or 13 hours for it to become downloadable, and it's a lot smaller than the regular videos that I upload. So don't know if it's, I mean, it's still an MP4, but yeah, wonder if the quality is just really, really low, because I'm going to try to pull some clips out of it. Let's see. All right. Ads keep popping up, and the display, I'm having to keep re-hitting the live on my feed. I wonder if that changes y'all's feed. I don't know. I still am very new and trying to figure out. All right. February sent me something. Let's see. Basically, I still learn to run more soon and confused because I have challenged about handling the data from multi-sources and compared to my friend about multi-dimensional. Can you give me an example? Just I don't want to be, again, just kind of like the topic I was talking about. I don't want to go off onto a tangent and be trying to give examples of working through this array if it is not. Can you give me an example? Can you show me graphically an array you might be having to handle? Because, I mean, what in NumPy, I mean, you can have unlimited in degrees, which that completely messes me up. I mean, 3 dimensions, my brain can handle that. But when we start to look at multi-dimension, so if you can drop into DM me, because right now here's two dimensions. We have 2 dimensions right here, and this is a good example of like a stadium seating, where you had a row and then you have a column. And what this problem was, and it was a really good problem. Like I said, it took me. I had some downtime at work. I was in some meetings, and I was actually teaching my replacement before I moved over to the rapid app development segment for the SQEP portal, all the SQL that I had written and what I was doing. Okay, you need to check first. All right, cool. Let's see. I'm wondering right now if we need to have like a channel on. It's just me spitballing here. If we need to make a channel for live streams, so you don't have to, if you're not worried, you don't want to put it into chat. And also, that's the other thing, the chat disappears. I do not like, you have to go back and rewatch. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna have I'm going to ask Cardinal to do that. Create a channel for, because we made one for SQL. We got T Kenter. Yeah, we need to make one. We need to make one for live streams so we can be in here. All right. Sorry, let me go back to the stream. Okay. So let's go back to this. So what the question was is we were given an array, and it was, is the seat empty or is the seat filled? And you needed to find out how many combinations of seats there were. So you would be given an array. You had to write a function that could take in an array and then pass in how many seats you would need. So if you had, and then where they were. So that I did it as these were rows 1, 2, and 3, and then rows A. I think I called them A, B, C, D, E, and F. So it was the combinations of it. So if you passed in here, so let's just go through this in human brain, and that's all programming brain is human brain, just faster. And then you just create the rules, and then you figure out how to use the tools that you have to create the rules that you did with your human brain. So let's just kind of go through this example right here. So all right, so if I had one person, how many empty seats are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I would return 10, and then I could list the seat numbers. Now, here's where it gets tricky. What happens if we entered 2? How many groups of 2 are there? Well, 1, 2, here's where it gets really interesting. 3, 4. So, all right. Let's go through that again. So, 2 together, it's 2 together. 1, those are together, and these are together. And then, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 seats. So so let's kind of break this down. The first one seat is super easy. Is it a 0? Can we sit there? Now, how would you explain this as like writing the peanut butter and jelly, how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich example? How would you go about doing this? Well, all right. So this is how I think I did it with my human brain. All right. So I'm looking for 2 zeros together. All right. Let's go back a step. So I'm looking for a 0, and then I'm looking for a 0 beside it. Let's say that again. So if I look here, it's not these 2 because this isn't a 0. And of course, I don't even look to the seat beside it because that's not a 0. So then I stop here and I look to the seat beside it. Nope, that can't do it. Don't even stop. Then I look here and I go, okay, now I need to check the seat beside it. Oh, cool. All right. So then I make a note of, this would be A, B, C, D, E. E1 is the first occurrence of 2 seats. So E1 and E2. All right, so I'm at the end of the row because I get to here and I'm at the 0 index, or I'm at the last index of the row. So then I go back down to this run and I come through here. Now, here's where it gets. Does everybody know, or anybody know about pointers? Have you heard about it, or have you heard me talk about pointers? So it's a variation of a sliding window. So when you actually crack that open, we're just talking about how to be how to be an entrepreneur. SF, that's what we're talking about, how to be an entrepreneur, or is that what you want to talk about? I think I got an ad showing up in about a minute. What is that? Is that Betty? Beatty? BDCA? We're just going over right now. We're started to talk about pointers, and I was going to break down sliding windows, and it took me a minute to wrap my head around that there are dynamic sliding windows and static sliding windows. So in this example, this is a static sliding window because we are looking at pointer. So if we had, right now, okay. You're referring to pointing to, and got it. Okay. Great point. A pointer is something to show you where data is. Okay. Yes. So I guess pointers. Okay. So here's an object in Python. Yes, it has technically in the back end. So there's layers of pointers, I guess. So in the back end, this is the pointer to the memory location because it. So, all right, let's go a little bit deeper into this. Now we're heading a little bit, we're tiptoeing around where I've stopped diving into programming. But all right, if we look at, is A still in here? Do I have A? All right, so A, what is it? IDA. This is the memory location of A, the pointer, and then goes and points to memory, pulls this up, and then goes and looks and sees what is actually in that location. I'm referring to pointers as working through an iterable. And in this example, we are looking at for seating, open seating for, and the example that we're working through right now is 2 open seats. So that is a static sliding window. So as I'm sliding through here, my window, what I'm looking at is this index, because I need to constantly, and I had an example, I had an image somewhere. I need to try to find that one for next time. As I'm moving over, I am automatically looking at that piece. So I'm always looking at 2, and I'm looking at this window right here. Are both of these 0? And if they're both 0, then I have true, because I have 2 empty seats, a combination of 2 empty seats for my challenge that I passed in, that I'm, because the object was to create was to create a function that took in two arguments, and one as an array and one as a number of empty seats wanting to find. All right. So, but we're really just kind of diving into, at first, of how is a human brain doing it? How are you really deciding? Because that's the trick and the subtlety, is that your brain is doing a lot more deciphering, because I'm probably a lot older than most of you. So it can be more challenging for me going, all right, how did I make that decision? What minute, subtle thought did I do to make that decision? So, all right, let's say we passed in the array and 3, and we were looking for 3 empty seats. So now we got to come here and we look here. So that automatically we stop looking, because we don't want to check the entire list as we're moving through, because that is pointless. So then we move to here. Well, we just keep moving, and we fail and we fail. But so our human brain goes, all right, this is the only one that is available that is here. So that is how, that's the true trick to programming, is how are you really, I love the example of even number. Oh my God. Have you guys all written a function to find even numbers, or that's the basis? And then, oh my gosh. Hey Dax, how are you doing? Dax has been around a long time. So that is so very cool. Let's see. And you're already on the Discord, right? Yeah. Because we were messaging back in June with all of my, here's our chat. Yeah, I'm going to be having a lot of time on my hands. So yes, I think that's going to be my biggest issue, is not having, sorry guys, changing gears. Not having any Tableau prep or BI actual hands-on. So I'm going to need to learn a lot more. Let's see. Never needed a function to find even stuff. You've not ever written a function to check if a number is even or not? Oh, it's a great building block. Have you ever done the prime number challenge to create, because that was actually, so one of the first things that I did was I was watching the MIT courses and that's basically the inspiration for this channel. It was like, create a function to print out your name. Okay. Create a function to find a prime number. All right. Okay. Create a function to find how to output chicken nugget combinations for numbers 50 through 101. And I don't know if you're graphing the complexity of that. Has anybody, if I didn't receive a notification that you were live, signed up yesterday for all notifications. Really? Okay. That is a little concerning. Okay, but that's great information. I'll dig into that. I wonder if there was a setting. I haven't done yesterday's live stream. Timestamp reactions, participants. I will have to dig into that, because that's not good. Because what was very interesting about yesterday's live stream is it was a complete inverse of subscribers to non-subscriber views, where typically I'm 85. Why are there two things on the screen? Can you rephrase that question? Two things. What are you referring to? The two sides of this? So the right side, oops, sorry. The right side is my script, and this is my interpreter. So whenever I run this, my goodness, why can't I highlight F9? It runs over here. So script, interpreter. All right. Did that help? Did that answer? I want to make sure I'm answering. Want to make sure I'm answering the questions. Okay, cool. All right. Want to make sure I'm always, because that has been reinforced over the past few weeks. That God, did I talk about that yesterday? Is that the teammate and I who are leaving were terrified by some of the statements that people on our larger team were making about just, oh, well, I'll just remove the duplicates. Well, how are you removing the duplicates? Because you may be accidentally removing the correct ones. So then maybe next time you will accidentally be removing the incorrect ones. So, all right, you want to make sure that whatever you're building, because you can get a false positive. I promise you, I get I get plenty of false positives, and that's how you find bugs. Because a perfect example, the even problem. Let's talk about that. So I want you to no, it's not the even. It's a positive or negative. So I guess that's the first one. So if you think about positive or negative and you're like, oh, well, it's just positive or negative. Well, no, there's actually a super secret third one. And you might go, well, what is that? Well, it's 0. So on a number line, there 0 is in the middle. So it goes back to our example right here. 0 is a number. It is utilized in the number line, correct? Well, Python does that as well. So if you're going to create a positive or negative function, there's actually 3 cases that you need to be prepared for: positive, negative, or 0. But all right. Has anybody seen any of the have you guys watched the prime number that I created, the function, or the chicken nugget one? Because the chicken nugget one, that took me months, and that was when it dawned on me that I was never going to finish the MIT course. And I needed to create I needed to create something like this YouTube channel to fill in the gaps that were out there in the programming world, because these professors, they know how to program, and they're doing research on cutting edge things, but explanations are not their strong suit, because they hadn't been a beginner in probably decades, where I, on the other hand, may have only just learned the subject that I may be explaining a month, a week, sometimes just a few days. But if you turn around, once you learn, this is so important, and I cannot stress this enough. The important thing is, right after you learn something, you need to begin to just cement it into your being. And if it's going and showing somebody else, if it's teaching somebody else, if it's recording a video, if it's putting it on a YouTube channel, whatever you have to do, because those are 2 different parts of your brains. I'm sure you've heard read whatever you're going to type, or read whatever you're typing out loud. So your auditory and your verbal are actually, they can work independently. So when you're reading out loud, your auditory, your listening is actually catching it. So when I started to realize that became mind-blowing to me. I was like, well, wait a second. Different parts of our brain can work and do these things all at the same time. And that's where I became very intrigued that maybe I could do something about my ADHD, and that I could maybe not reprogram, but point it in the right direction, or focus it, or have it run through a like a magnifying glass, instead of it just being like a sun and just blasting out and blaring everywhere and just wasting all of my energy all over the place. So all right, the chicken nugget example, that thing blew me away, and I've rewritten it a few times and it's gotten more elegant. Let's see. Why are there so many lines? So many lines of, I'm so sorry. All right, ask that. What side? Right side or left side? So many lines. Where am I looking? on the right side. Over here. Okay. Are you referring to this array that I have right here? Now, tell me if this explains it. So, what I did... So when I use... Sorry, let me show you. So... Oh! Okay. I got it. Well, it's a very large file. So I have a lot of... I've been using this file for a very long time. So I'm on here. See? That's why there's so many lines. I have a lot of stuff in here. So did that help? It's just I've had this open for a very long time, and I write a lot of... I don't delete anything. I learned a long time ago. Don't delete anything. All right. I'm going to get rid of that block. All right. Okay. That help? Because now I've been starting to use F9 a lot more, so I can go back and forth. So I didn't know if you're referring to this, because so what this is doing, so when you run, if you have your cursor in your file and you press F5, it runs the whole script. If you highlight something specifically, press F9, it will... Hang on one second. That's a good question. All right. So it will then output so everybody can be on the same page, since somebody somewhere probably went, oh, what did I run when I did this? All right. So it actually outputs what you highlighted for validation to make sure everybody's on the same page of what you actually ran and the output. All right. So what's the story behind don't delete anything? All right. Comment it out. Variations. So one of the things, now this is going to be very choppy because I don't know what I'm going to try to say here, and I've been trying to articulate this for a while. So this is going to be a first attempt because I can't explain it to myself. So all right, you guys get to hear the first attempt. So my dyslexia, when I'm writing something like this, earlier just a little while ago, we had these flipped. If I were to, if somebody were to come in here, flip these around for me, and I were to come back and look at this, I wouldn't be, it would take me a while. Like, you could come in here and rearrange this, and I could look at it, and I wouldn't notice it. And I would have to stare at it and read line by line. So that is the negative aspect of how my brain works. So I can write things to solve this. Finding the one letter that is different. One of these things is not like the other. Finding the one letter that is in here, very challenging. So I say that to say all this, is that I would write something and then the output wouldn't be exactly what I want to, or it'd be close. So I would make a copy of it. And then comment this out and try to work here. So it would be a backup. So I would take something that would work, or it wasn't quite right and the output wasn't exactly, and I could reset. I could go back to it. And also, when you're learning, I would assume it gives you a great resource to review old good code to write new code. That's a perfect way. That is a perfect example of it, because And also to track your journey, to show you, so you can see the evolution, that you are getting better, you're writing cleaner, you're writing better code, to just keep you motivated, because that is also important too. But I think where I really learned was when I would delete something and I'd be like, oh my God, that did work. Where'd that go? Why? I need that. So just comment it out. And if you don't know what that looks like, it's just this. And also, this is going to sound weird, but explain why you do things. So, all right, sometimes I delete things to fix stuff, but the problem is something else, and I just ruined my code. Bingo. There you go. Because what happens if you're getting rid of something and you got rid of the wrong one? Or, again, to my statement that I've been preaching to myself, I'm not yelling at you guys, make sure you're fixing the problem. So here's a vital thing, and I'm just going to assume you guys all you're here to hang out with me because our brains are similar. So you want to make sure that you're not writing extensive pieces of code and they all go wrong. You want to write one thing at a time and test it. And because if you do 3 things, so here's an old lesson from an old guy. So let's say you make 3 changes and 2 of them are wrong. And because that's where the waste of time really comes in and happens. Sorry. We have a lot of moving parts around here. Had to say hey to some people. So all right. So then you test one of them, it works, and you're like, well, wait a minute. Then you test another one and it works, but then 2 of them together, it doesn't work. So that will drive you insane. You will go absolutely bananas. But if you went through and you tested each scenario as you added, you would know if it was good or bad as it was happening live, and you will not waste your time. But let's talk about this for a second. I thought when I read this, it was going to be that they were joking and exaggerating, but they are not. You can write a piece of code and come back a year later, your own code, come back a year later and read it, and you won't have any idea what you were doing. You're like, why was I doing it that way? You're like, what did I do there? Oh, hey, Unfinished. Talked about your example. Are you just joining, or have you been here a minute? Because I'll go back and go over how your explanation or your solve, because I liked it a lot and I thought it was very creative. So let me know if you've been able to get caught up, or if you are wanting me to explain how your code's working, because that's also, you just joined. All right. So I actually saw a meme, and it was basically like that. It was like, it's broken and I don't know what's wrong. And then it's like, it's working and I don't know why. I don't know why it's working and I don't know why it's wrong. And I was like, and I just died laughing. I've been sending those to teammates all weekend. So, all right. Okay, Unfinished. This was a very cool example. So I like this a lot. Let's comment this out so our eyes only see what Unfinished did. So I thought it was very cool. All right, Unfinished. Let's bring this in. I'm gonna give some letters here. Why isn't this highlighting? So let's look and see. Because people just come in and out. Ended up. So to give you an idea, I have 7. It says 7 watching now, and I've had a total of 70 come in and out over the past hour. I think we're down an hour and 25 minutes. So I've had 70 come in and out. Well, see, I have two bits of information that are I'm a little confused. So one screen says I have 7 viewers. One says I have 5. So it's on the same screen but in different pieces. So it may only be 4. But I've had 70 come in and out and go. I think it's more hard to understand why your code is working than why your code isn't working. When I like that. I can understand where you're coming from with that. So all right, let's look and see first. Let's break down this and let's bring up the slicing. So did you let's look at this 1300. Did you see? Well, I'll put it back the way you had it. I tweaked it a little bit. Not much. So here's your print, and then here's your slicing. I loved how you did this. So do you get this as slicing right here before we go too far? And then I'm going to be very visual. I went and found the graphics that one of my kids made for me a few years ago. Notifications. Did anybody here receive? Oh, great question. All right. Dax made me aware that no one got a notification that I was live, and they set it up yesterday to get it. So we're trying to figure out, is it a setting? Is it a me thing, or is it a YouTube thing? Didn't get it. No one got a notification. All right, so I will do some research when I get off. There's a setting thing here. Let's see. No. All right. I don't want to slow you guys down. Pop out dashboard. There's probably a setting that I just did not press. I like how you read the chat. Most YouTube producers never read the chat unless it's in donate. No, look, you guys are awesome. I mean, I have 12,000 subscribers. I never would have thought, ever would have thought that I would have 12,000 subscribers. And I love, look, teaching Python. Actually, how about we go back a minute and then we'll deal with slicing. Your channel was listed on the top. Listed on the top of YouTube though. Oh, cool. Okay. Well, that's very cool. All right. But it was in your feed because you're very cool and you've been around a long time. Yeah, Dax has been around five years. I think that slicing is like x minus 1 decrement. Okay. All right. Let's dive into that. And then we'll had a vague thought I was going to talk about. What the hell was I going to talk about? I don't know. Let's talk about slicing and we'll see what comes up. So, all right, slicing is very, very cool. So we have indexing and slicing. Let's dive into this. Yep, Dax joined back when I had 78 subscribers. So I actually remember that day. All right, we're gonna go back. So the channel is, gosh, 7 years old. Hang on. 6. Because I think I did it when my daughter was 10, because it was right around her birthday. Maybe 7. I'll have to go back. Well, let's look. Well, now I really want to. All right, I'll look later. I don't want to slow up the stream. So, okay. But yes, Dax has been around a long time and been extremely honored. I still remember where I was because I was getting pretty good at getting it on my phone, and I think I had finally upgraded to a smartphone. Everybody in my house was making fun of me. But I was actually out at I appreciate that. I do. I was out at Red Lobster, and my family was there. My dad was in town, and I was actually going over the problem that I had just solved about the Monty Python example, and I had just finished writing it, and I saw this huge spike in my views, and I think it was the most views that I had ever had in a day, and it was like, I think I hit almost 100 views that day, and I had never ever gotten that high before, and I was blown away that one person was spending that much time watching my my videos. So I was extremely honored. So, and more that I think about it, I think the channel's 7 years old now, so I guess my daughter was 9. Okay, I guess. Well, all right, is what it is. But I think it was 2017. Come to think of it. All right, so slicing. Let's dive into this of what we're doing here. So zero indexing. Python starts at 0. Positive indexing 0 to the end. Negative indexing -1 backwards. So all right, what you're doing here is you're doing a very interesting technique, and each time through. So the first time, you're printing out all of it. Then immediately after that, you're slicing off the front, the first one. So let's look. So if we look at that, and then I index 1 to the end. Okay, so I removed A. So now let's go back. Crap, let me make sure this is in the visual. Okay, don't want anything to cut off. All right, that's in scene. All right, so then we did that. Let's go back there. So now I'm going to reassign. And let's talk about the reassignment for just a second. This is completely legal in Python because everything is happening over here on this side of the equal sign. Everything happens over here. Python looks in memory, looks to see what this is. This is a legal statement. I'm slicing, and then I'm reassigning. Python doesn't care that you're reusing the variable because it's looking into memory and it's looking at this object. Then I'm reassigning. So then I recall A. Okay, so then I redo this again, recall A. So as you were going through this, as you were iterating, you were slicing off one of your blanks, one of your indexes of the string, because you cannot. So let's kind of talk about that for a second. Strings are, have you ever tried to make something like a Discord bot or a game in Python? No, because that's not a problem I'm interested in doing. So let's kind of pause and talk about that. So I needed a stock screener. I needed it. So I wanted to build it because I needed it. So that was my focus, and I learned a lot about building that. So that actually helped me get my last job. Wow, that's going to be weird to say. My last job. Because I had to solve all of the issues of how I wanted to handle it. The objects, the hurdles that I had to overcome because I was tracking data, and it was constantly changing, but I was making notes. So the things that I wanted to, every time it was running, I was overriding the notes that I was making. So I had to come up with a solution. So if that's a problem that you have, then do it. So if it needs to be, have you ever heard the term a passion project? So that's a cool word. But what the origination of it has to be a passion of yours. It has to be something you want to do. And people have used it overused it, in my opinion, and I haven't heard it in a while, so I'm glad it's kind of gone away. But think of a problem that you want to solve, because you're gonna run into something. It took me. The problem that I ran into was with the 2 spreadsheets that I was using to track, and it was just the way that there's probably a better way to do it. And actually, I need to fix something that's been broken in that. But I've had all these other things going on. But the reason why it has to be a passion to you is because you're going to run into a problem that it's going to stop you. You're going to have an issue. That is very cool, Dax. Yes, data is a passion for me too. I did not know I was a data analyst until I got my last job. And also working with business partners. So the business leaders needing their processes, their solutions, their information. That was very, very cool. I do. You should check it. The server link is down in the description of this video. It should be. Does anybody, if you don't see it down there, click in it, and maybe somebody, let's see. I'll try to put it in chat. No, but I'm pretty sure it's down in the description below. Just let me know. All right. So I know that was all over the place, but unfinished. Did that answer your question? You can't find it. All right, give me a second. Okay, you're looking right now, because I'm pretty sure it's in there because I didn't change anything. Let me look, because I think I got a link somewhere. Discord. Yeah, all right. Copy. Paste. Yeah, and then really. Interesting. All right. There we go. I need to adjust this stream. Okay, thank you for letting me know that. Yep. I'm doing it right now. I'm adding it right now. Put it after Twitter. Thank you for letting me know, guys. I guess I haven't edited this live stream in a while. No, not that. That needs to go there. Save. All right, so the Discord is in chat and it is now in the description, and I will double check that. But thank you for letting me know that. All right, Dax, that's a good call out. Right, unfinished. Did that answer your question of how you're solving this? I thought it was a great solution. Okay, all right. Discord. Hang on. Yep, you're right. Let me redo this. All right, try that one. Let me know about that, and I will re-edit this. No. Save that. There we are. All right, let me know about that. Okay, cool. Unfinished. That helped. All right. Yep, that is very cool. about what you're doing in iteration. Iteration is repeatability. I've said that a ton, and that's what humans are bad at, and that is one of the awesome. Glad the invite worked. Thank you very much. So I'll need to check and make sure that it is in all the videos. I could have sworn that it's defaulted to that, but I will check that, and it's at least in the current live stream, and every live stream should be going forward, because I think I just have been recycling this. But I like to, let me see if I can pull up another image, and I call this dots. 3 dots. Let's see, do I have it? More dots. Okay. So I know this is silly, so we're gonna go back and forth on these. So, okay, you might be like, what is he talking about? Why is he crazy? All right, well, those are both really good questions. Crazy, yes. And why am I talking about it? Can I zoom in on this one? All right. So I like this example a lot because it makes you think. How can you cover all these dots with repeatable instructions? So I need to get like a little person here, but we're going to use our hand. You're going to use this hand. I love that this hand is here. All right. So let's say you're standing here. I think I got this idea from kids tutorial, and then I expanded upon it. So, all right. I looked away from the live stream for a second. What are the circles? Okay. All right. Let's talk about this. So this is just an example of columns and rows and an array, however you want to think about it. But if you're right here and you're going to go through this, what is a set of instructions for you to come up here and have this be repeatable? So let's say you're standing here and you walk forward, you turn right, you walk forward, you turn all the way around, you walk forward, and you turn to the right. So if you think about this, you just created a function that walks up and down this row. So then you can then repeat that and say, all right, so I wrote a set of instructions, and now I'm just going to repeat this two more times. But really, I'm going to write this over here, and I'm going to have to do this 3 times. So that's what, and I know this seems silly, but this is just like our number triangle, where if you think about the problem and how can I create a set of instructions where I can go and repeat this and do it over and over and over again. Because what happens if I make it where I added more rows and more columns? Well, then all you have to do is do a test of how long is this blank, or until you get to the end and turn around. So that's what this is. So I accidentally had this in reverse earlier. So when I run this, let's see, F9, I get, it's super close. Dynamic example of any number in rows and columns of this example only. Dynamic example for any. Yes, exactly. So you don't. Perfect. Dex, that's absolutely perfect. Because you have to think dynamically of not knowing how many you're going to have. It's going to need to be built upon that this is always changing, but you have the same set of instructions. Walk until, turn around, go back. And then if you had to say, well, how many do I have to go back? All right, as you're going, increment a counter, and then go back and repeat, and then boom. What do you think about code nesting? Are you talking about like a nested, well, like a nested for loop or a nested function, or can you elaborate? Because I don't want to answer something. I don't want to answer the wrong question. Can you elaborate on what type of code nesting? But yes, dynamic program, that's how you need to think, because everything that I build, having too many indents or having classes inside of classes, well, do you need them? You only want to do them if you need them. That's and that goes back to just the question that you asked, and then I asked a clarifying question. You want to be solving a problem. And I guess even back to your thing, have I built a game or a what was it? Have I built a game or a Discord server? Yeah, there it is. I did Discord bot or a game in Python. No, because that's not a problem I'm interested in. I don't have that problem, so I wouldn't have that passion to do it. But solving these puzzles like this, like, here's a perfect example. It's like, well, wait a minute. I know I have everything. Well, yes, I have everything. But do I have everything where it needs to be? And this is what's so interesting to me, and I love telling this story. I loved teaching kids, because when I immediately began to learn Python, I talked my kids' teachers into letting me come and teach in their classroom Python, because I knew that if I wanted to become a better Python practitioner, I was going to need to be teaching to reinforce what I had already learned. So here's a great example. I have everything, but it's not quite where it needs to be. And then I rerun this, and I have the answer. But it was all right here, just the order of operations. So, all right. I was shooting for 2 hours. We got about 13 minutes. We've had some folks drop off. Is there any question that you want me to address today? Because I think we're gonna go over the even, because I love that example. Maybe the pointer, finding the sliding dynamic windows and static windows. Those examples are perfect. I love those so much. And I need to create a table. What editor am I using? All right. Don't get hung up on editors, but it's Spider. Be really, really careful with that, because especially if you're new, and the more advanced editor you get, the more of a headache you can run into. Just learn Python right now. So if you want to learn Python, just learn Python. You can do everything you need to do with yes, thank you so much, Dax. Be sure you hit the like button for me on this, and if you are new here by chance, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. But Dax has already pointed out that everybody hit the notification bell and it didn't do anything, so I need to get to the bottom of that. But all right, because if you run into especially Visual Studio, oh my goodness, Visual Studio can be a pain with having files. All right. Well, you can use it, but if you're a newbie, you can run into dependency issues. The libraries can get all out of whack. So if you're not having any issues with it, I get it. Um, don't, and I get this question a lot too. Don't get hung up on what you should learn next. Be more. I know this is going to sound, I know I keep saying the same thing. You're going to get more out of this trying to solve these puzzles, because if you go to try to learn something and you don't need it, it's going to fall by the wayside. You're not going to have the motivation to stick with it. Where when you're trying to solve something like this and you're intrigued by it and you want to solve it, you're going to figure out a way to solve it, and you're going to learn a tremendous amount with it. Sometimes when installing modules and stuff, it fails to install, but I don't think it's the editor. Yeah, but I mean, it's the software, and it can be. I just don't want, what the point of what I'm trying to make is, don't add, what do I want to say? Self-inflicted wounds. You do not want to be causing a problem while you're trying to solve another problem. So you don't want to get stuck into a loop of having equipment that you're battling while you're trying to learn something. You want to have a nice, clean, static environment where you can learn the tools that you need to. And then if you want to import and deal with software issues, then you attack those at a later time. But trying to deal with software and modules while you're trying to learn how to use software and modules is it is absolutely painstaking. But yeah, I spent years some of the devices because of the dependencies. What are those? What are the dependencies? Well, all right. See, because this is how you go down rabbit holes of, and you don't. This is exactly. So, all right. Dependencies are. So, all right. A perfect example. Pandas is dependent on NumPy to run. So, it imports other modules to support and do calculations and do functions inside its module or package. So sometimes it'll help and it'll install all dependencies, but that's what you run into with, like, if you just use pip and you have, because right now I don't want to tell you. I really don't want to tell you. So when I run into any of those issues, I go back to idle and I just do pip install and I get it to work over there, and just the regular Python interpreter. I mean, you don't need a fancy tool. So all right, I say that to say this, that I remember when I was a kid and I was playing tennis, and it was the pro, and I was running my mouth. I ran my mouth a lot as a kid. And I said, I can't beat you. You have a blanket blank racket. He had a really nice racket, really expensive racket. And I only had a not fancy racket. And I was convinced it was the racket. So he goes, okay, let's switch rackets. And I was like, yeah. I learned very quickly. Had nothing to do with the racket. It had all the skills and experience and the knowledge of how to play tennis, and then strength and size a little bit. But he didn't beat me by overpowering me. He beat me with technique and precision and just skill, not raw talent of size and speed, because he was an adult and I was a kid. He beat me with knowledge to move me around the court and make me look awful. So I say all that. Do not get hung up on what type confusion between, I do not know. At work, well, past work, we had Visual Studio, and I use Anaconda. So, yeah, VS Code is here. I have not launched it. So I use, let's see, bring this over here, Spider. Yeah. So I have 2 environments. I actually run 2 spiders all the time. So this is how quickly things can get out of hand. I really am hesitant to show you guys this. But all right. Because I was trying to import a module, and it was awful to get it in here. So, but you have your environments, you have all of your, I tried PyCharm a while back. I just like Spider. I like how it works. I don't have any issues with it. I like the 2 screens. I just like everything. What is that menu? That is it's the Anaconda package software. So that's where I have that's where I get my Spider from. So I know that there's a cult for Jupyter. I hate Jupyter. I don't like it at all. If you guys do, please don't hold that against me. But I just don't care for the cells. I just don't like it at all. All right, but yes, but please don't get hung up on the software. It's just the racket. These are the skills. These are the skills you want to get hung up on. I can't say that enough. These are the skills. Jupyter. I don't want to. I hate Jupyter. I don't want to talk about it. I never understood why everyone uses Jupyter for beginner courses. Yeah, it's awful. I know it helps. Yes, I get it. But for new people, I always look at it from a new person. If a beginner can't do it, I think it's absurd. That's the way it should be. So intuitive. It should be so simple. It should be, because I remember when I was learning programming, and there was this snobbiness of everything except Python. So anytime I started coding in Notepad, yeah, that's perfect. And then you can copy and move it over. Yeah, Notepad++ is great. It's almost an editor. It is almost an editor. You can actually, that's the one thing that my old boss, he showed me, that you can put it in the programming languages, and that was so cool. And you can find for your wrapping of parentheses, because that helped me so much, and collapsing code, subqueries, and things like that. Like, it took me forever to wrap my head around a subquery. I'm like, wait a minute, what? And then to go from there. So, all right. Don't get hung up on the tools. Get hung up on the concepts. So think about like building your house when you're having to do carpentry work. Measure twice, cut once, if you've not heard that saying. Be obsessed with that. And then you think about an old carpenter. They got the rattiest hammer. But man, that hammer, that hammer's seen some stuff, right? But he's not going out and getting a new hammer all the time. He's focused on process. How can I be more efficient? How can I cut this more efficiently? How can I not waste time? How can I not self-inflict a wound? How can I plan better? How can I better use my equipment and my time? That's what an old carpenter thinks and focuses on. And that's just like a programmer, an old programmer. How can I make efficient code? How can I be elegant? How can somebody come behind me and read this and know what I'm doing? Well, that's an important thing. Writing documentation, very, very vital. Documentation, because you're going to need it. Because you're going to go and write this and come back 6 months later and be like, oh my God, what was I doing? Because we were asked to make 4 new screens before I left. And I was like, we're not going to get these 4 screens done. And it's like, okay, we're not going to get, do you play any games? I play Call of Duty World War II almost every day. I absolutely love that. I was given that for Christmas a bunch of Christmases ago by my kids. And I absolutely love it. I've gotten halfway decent at it. I know I'm old, but I do I was around when video games were invented. And I remember when we got, I think the Wii, and Mario Brothers was on there, and my kids were very judgy. And they're like, you don't know what you're doing. And I said, and I looked at the map, or I looked at the board, and I was like, I know exactly what to do here. It was the transition from, it was the water spout where you'd jump on the water and ride over. Well, I played Mario 2 that had that as sand. So the game functionality was exactly the same. All they did was change the graphics on it. I was like, I already know what to do with this game. I knew exactly the game physics of it, how to jump, the timing of it, and they were blown away that I could do it. And I mean, I can still beat them in Call of Duty, and it annoys them, and I love it. So, all right. Okay. Any other questions before I drop? And I'm probably going to be on tomorrow, and I will try to figure out the notifications. But Dax, you probably have work tomorrow, a real job, and I will be. If I have any issues, I don't know if Dax is still here, but if I have any Tableau or BI questions, I will reach out. We may be doing some live streaming of how to use Tableau, because I can write some queries that'll knock your socks off. But creating the visualization, some cardinals outside my window. I love cardinals. Some visualization. That's where I begin to have some gaps. But all right, guys. I absolutely love you guys being here. I appreciate it. You guys keep me motivation. Okay. BI can use Python as a source? Really? Now, only BI. Okay. Well, that's good to know. And I see why a lot of the jobs that have been posted for visualization and BI seem to always be asking for Python. So that actually explains it. And that's one of the things I'm going to try to explain on LinkedIn, because I'm going to try to do some videos on LinkedIn, not just more. I have to start. Is that I learned create a role in Discord for video announcements and ping it when you create a video live stream. Actually, I do. So that is what is very interesting. Not many videos on Power BI Python. Really? Okay. That may be what that may be what I'm doing. Okay. One of my old teammates, she was talking about that she liked Power BI better than Tableau. So that is all really good information. Appreciate that, Dax. I may be reaching out if I can't find anything to where to start. But yeah, because I don't like Tableau. It doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. I would follow the instructions because I had 2 teammates who one was really, really good at Tableau. One was okay. Announcements channel. I was watching the system. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Didn't notice the video announcements channel. I was watching the stream. Okay. All right. Planning on being back on here tomorrow. So same. Oh, I'm gonna do something really old to show my age. Now I only watched them on reruns. Same bat time, same bat channel. If love Power BI, Dax is programming language of Power BI. You had told me that before. That's right. Okay. Yeah, man. I actually may reach out. Oh, I don't. I almost said no. I'll reach out. I don't want to put that out on the internet. Okay. Appreciate everything, everybody. You guys keep me very motivated and humble, very, very humble. But you guys are awesome. I have the best community. Very cool. And we'll just check in tomorrow. And Dax, if you if you have time, jump on, and I'll try to figure out the no notification. Nope, don't need to say that at all. But appreciate it, guys. You guys are great, and I'll see you all tomorrow. All right, bye, guys.